I'm just having a smoke. You mean you don't smoke, Hammer? Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. Yes, the title does look like I'm rather mental, but what I mean by that? Well, you see, as you imagine already know, I've been collecting armor and weapons since I was 17 years old. And throughout all these years, this question, these comments that I always hear, there are so many comments that I always hear from people, really have become more and more bothering. So considering that I have had quite a few recent comments on the same lines that I'm going to explain to you in a moment, I've decided to just, you know what, I'll just make a video about it. I'm not sure if it's the same with you, but I suppose that if you like armors and weapons like me, you know, you always get these strange looks, like people looking at you and thinking, what? You know, you show them your room or you show them your place and they see these armors and helmets and weapons and they start saying these comments. They either say, are you rich or something? Or they say, well, that's a you know, you're just wasting money on these things. Why do you waste money on these things? And then, or perhaps, you know, and then you're there thinking to yourself, well, what should I say to these people? I mean, yeah, probably there are more important things that I should be spending my money in, like, for example, I don't know, a better education on a few other books, or perhaps I should just, you know, buy myself a car. But then again, you see that beautiful set of armor, you see that suit, you know, a suit of armor, and it looks so beautiful, and of course it has its cost, and you think to yourself, if I had 400 euros, or if I had 1,000 euros, or if I had 5,000 euros, you know, I would love to buy that. But people don't understand you, do they? You know, I think these comments are a perfect, and I'm sorry if I'm going to be blunt here, but they are a perfect exemplification of utter ignorance. The reason why I say that, and you know that I'm getting a little annoyed by these comments, honestly, is because people don't know what they are talking about, first. And secondly, they are honestly being brainwashed by what? Society. Now, let's explain these two concepts a little bit further. Now, what I mean by ignorance is, I'm not trying to offend people, I'm just stating the facts, plain facts. Because when they come to you and they say, are you rich or something, it's because they assume that all kinds of armor is expensive. Well, first of all, it's not the case. There are many different kinds of armor and costs vary, just like with musical instruments. You can get very cheap kinds of armor, you know, lab quality, for example. Some of my things are lab quality, like, you know, for example, well, you have seen some of those in my videos. Other things are a bit more expensive. And then you can get to proper replica of armor made, you know, through casting of your legs, and yes, those can be very expensive. However, the question that I have started asking people who tell me who tell me, are you rich or something, spending all this money like that or wasting money on these things, has been the following. Do you smoke? Now, to those people, and there is a huge, you know, amount of people smoking out there. I don't smoke myself. Many people will say, yes, I do. Good. The question then should be, are you rich or something? Or why do you waste money on that? Because you see, the concept is very similar. And actually, I think it's a lot worse to spend money on tobacco. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some of you smoke out there. I have nothing against you. You are free to do whatever you want with your money. Whether you get money as a present, or whether you have money because you belong to a wealthy family, or whether you've been working hard throughout your entire life, what you do with your money is entirely up to you. However, when a lot of people smoke, and because a lot of people smoke, it has now become an accepted vice, an accepted way of spending money. Also because it works through an illusion that I think quite a few of you will already No, because I see through the comments that luckily I have quite a few intelligent people watching my videos, and I'm very happy with that. But many people are deceived by a very simple illusion, the fact that one packet of cigarettes costs, well, in Europe, around €5. Now we'll get back to that in a moment. But, so for example, in Europe, around €5 for a packet of cigarettes. I know that in America it can get a lot more expensive, particularly in New York. I will get back to that. But let's consider Europe for a moment. So €5 for a packet of cigarette. Then you see a helmet and you think, how much is that helmet? And perhaps a good helmet could be also €200. Very good one, €1,000. Very cheap one, €40. But let's get the €200 ones. And you think, gosh, €200 for one helmet? That's a lot of money. €5 for a packet of cigarette is not. There is a problem. This concept is faulty because I don't buy a helmet per day. I buy a helmet every few months, actually. So let's consider that I save up money for 2 months. I get to €200 and I buy myself a beautiful salad. But then let's see a smoker, a heavy smoker. A heavy smoker consumes 40 cigarettes a day. That's one package of cigarettes a day. So he's not spending €5, he's spending €5 per day. If we multiply that and do a little calculation here, that's probably over €150 per month. So in 2 months' time, he will have spent €300. The problem is that first is you have these kind of installments. It's separated. Each time you buy a cheap item, but a lot of cheap items bought regularly reach a very high price, and as we have just seen, more than our mediumly expensive helmet. So what is my point here? My point is that a heavy smoker in Europe regularly spends in 1 year over €1,800 to €2,000. But the problem is that they don't realize that. And the reason why you don't realize that is because your money goes into smoke. It's burnt. You don't have any testimony of the way you have spent your money. With helmets instead, when I buy something like this, it remains as a testimony of the money I have spent. Personally, I think actually this is advantageous because when I buy a helmet, it's not only a beautiful item, it's not only something that I can use to teach history, for example, or talk about history, it's not only something that I can use to make nice and entertaining and fun videos, to make at least, but it's also a beautiful piece of decoration for my home. But when you smoke, nothing is left of what you do. Secondly, armor saves my life. Hypothetically, but it does actually when you do jousting. Smoking kills you. So here is another example of why I think that a person who smokes is in nowhere the position of judging someone who is simply collecting something less common and therefore not accepted by society. People will look at you and think that you are bizarre, strange, funny, weird, because you're not like the mass. You're different. You like different things. But I think that the very best way to reach a utopic society would be to understand respect. So, and when I say respect, now, I don't mean that respect, I don't ask for respect. I don't try to force respect on people because that doesn't work. It's impossible. But I give respect to people. And when you give respect to people, I think that respect can be expected from civilized people. And when I say respect, what I mean by that word, I mean that, right, you wish to smoke, that is fine with me, as long as you don't smoke in my home, because that could be a problem for my health. But if you smoke in your home and you do it with your own money, then I think that you are entitled to do that. If you like doing that, that's fine. If you are my friend, I would probably tell you that tobacco has gives you many problems concerning your health, so I could try and perhaps, if you ask my opinion about it. But if you don't, and you just want to go on with your choice, that is fine. But in the very moment that my person lacks that very freedom, when people start criticizing my or your choices, then I think it's good to retaliate, to tell them, to help them see things from a different perspective, which is not the perspective of the mass, it's not the perspective of the majority of people, but it's a coherent and empirical perspective. So, as far as I'm concerned, the unsurmountable problem that lies with phrases and statements such as you're wasting your money is the problem that when people differ from you, they are wrong. And this is the cruncher, really. So let's see the facts. So again, we said 1,800 to 2,000 euros per year are regularly spent by people, by heavy smokers. And yet these people come to me and tell me they spend too much money. Now with 2,800 euro, with 2,000 euros or 1,800 euros, if you buy mild steel and cheap armors and cuirasses and helmets, believe me, you could easily arm a battalion of people. You can easily arm probably over 20 people. So when you come to my place and you think that I've been doing this, I've been collecting things for probably over 15 years, so let's consider 10 years. 10 years of smoking is somewhere close 20,000 euros, so $23,000 American dollars. With that money, goodness gracious, you could arm. You could make a movie. You could make a film easy if you buy cheap stuff, and if you really want to buy proper stuff, you can get yourself a smashing, amazing, and fantastic suit of armor, and not get cancer out of it. The punchline is, think of it this way. Think of an alien being, an alien life form, intelligent life form that comes to Earth for the first time, and he encounters two different people, Mr. Smith, we're just saying one name, and Mr. Metatron, which is me. Now, when he meets Mr. Smith, he will start talking to him, and then Mr. Smith, as he's talking, will just light up a cigarette and start smoking. And then the alien will say, "What are you doing? What is that thing? And why are you burning it?" And the person will have to explain to an alien being who does not know what smoking is, what he's doing, the meaning of his actions. So what will he say? Probably, it will, if you really need to be honest, you will say that you are doing something, using a substance that is harmful to your body. And the reason why you're doing that is because you enjoy doing that. And also because, for many people, is because many other people do it. And also because it has become some kind of fashion for some people. Or maybe because just you started when you weren't perhaps mature enough to understand what you were doing, and now you just can't stop because the substance has now become addictive. And that's it. And it's probably not a very wise thing to do, but you still do it because you enjoy doing it. Then the alien will meet me, and he will be talking to me, and we will be having a nice conversation, perhaps with a lovely pizza or cup of tea if you want to be British. And he will ask me, "What are all these objects that you have made of metal?" And I will say, "Well, these represent a part of our history that I am very interested in, and they help me remember many things about the past, and also I find them beautiful from an artistic point of view. They don't harm me, and they were used to save people's lives, particularly those who were going into battle." So, I want you to be honest here, coming from a completely outside perspective. Which one of the two makes more sense? So again, mine is not an attack to smokers. If you smoke, don't feel attacked. I'm only attacking people who attack. And if you like armors and helmets like me, I think you should consider these points significant. Because again, people don't see. They just judge you. They think you're different. They think that... I remember this lad, he came here once and he looked at these helmets and he said, "What do you need these things for?" And again, I answered back, "What do you need the tobacco for?" It's the same thing. You don't even have to use tobacco. You can use anything. You can use, for example, I don't know, addiction to alcohol. You could use gambling. And most of the things that you will find that people do and use money for, you will see that most of them are equally bad and quite worse than your own. So, but the problem is that society has a very subtle way to sanitize reality, to hide reality from people's eyes. Now, again, I'm no one to say, I've come here to talk. I'm no one here to come and say, open your eyes and things like that. There are many subjects and things that I need to open my eyes for. And that if I find someone who can help me understand things that I don't know much about, I will be very happy and ready to accept that there are people that know more than I do. But on this topic, honestly, I've been collecting armor for many years, and I've been hearing these things repeated over and over and over again. People have called me crazy, people have called me strange, people have said that I just waste money. And this idea of wasting money, I mean, I work for my money. So if this makes me happy, and if this makes you happy, what's wrong with it? So, I'm very interested to know what you think about this. If you agree with me, please let me know. If you don't agree with me, let me know. I'll be happy to hear also, you know, people who agree and people who don't agree. And it's interesting to have conversation and discussions about this. But this is my idea, and this is what I say when people ask me why I collect things, and particularly if they do it in an aggressive, arrogant way. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.